Just minutes to go before the kick-off here at Stadium Australia as we bid welcome to our friends on TV3 New Zealand and our interstate viewers joining us through STW and NWS. To bring us all the drama of the 2000 NRL Grand Final, the voice of rugby league, Ray Warren, lining up for his 25th Grand Final and calling better than ever. Ray.
Thank you, Ken. As an FAD from the Royal Australian Air Force does a fly past to a crowd of around probably 90,000 here at Stadium Australia. It really caps a wonderful presentation staged by the league here today as Brisbane and the Roosters prepare to do battle. Beautiful day in Sydney. The harbour city basking in sunshine, some cloud. Hopefully not going to threaten us during the afternoon, although it's banking up just a little bit now. So the shootout for rugby league supremacy has finally arrived. Great atmosphere as the FA cuts through it. We wait for Kevin Walters, playing in his 7th Grand Final and retiring today, to bring the Broncos from the shed, and of course Brad Fittler, who's been placed under enormous pressure in the other room as captain. Everybody has been saying that for them to win, Fittler has to really stand up today. No team changes to the Brisbane side. Shane Webke will play, so will Tony Carroll. And of course Luke Ricketson was under a cloud and he will play for Sydney Roosters. They've won the premiership 11 times, the team from Bondi Junction here in Sydney. But they haven't been to a grand final since 1980, when they were eclipsed on that occasion by the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. I think they were back in those days. They might have been the Berries, but I fancy the Bulldogs. And of course Brisbane have not been beaten in a grand final. 4 times they've been there, and 4 times they've come away successful. So here's Brad Fittler leading the Roosters from the sheds below Stadium Australia. Still the national anthem to come from David Campbell. There'll be quite a bit of nerves in the Sydney Roosters lineup. Only Fittler and Fitzgibbon have appeared in grand finals before. Fitzgibbon last year, Fittler not since 1991. And here he is with his team for the grand final, Bradley Fittler. They were knocking on death's door last weekend, and then they performed a Houdini to come from behind and beat Newcastle. The world's #1 player in the #6 shirt. And now what a magnificent career for Kevin Walters. 14 years and 7 grand finals. He's played in 5 winning grand final teams, from Canberra across to Brisbane. Champion rugby league side, champion players, and it is going to take one almighty effort from Sydney Roosters to overcome the might of the Broncos today. Greatest back rower in the world of rugby league, Gordon Tallis. Stop him if you can, and stop him as quickly as you can.
And the Roosters will do their fans proud today, no doubt about it. Luke Phillips is a fullback, Matt Singh and Minicello are the wingers, Cross and Hegarty in the centres. Fittler's the 5'8" and captain, Adrian Lee's the halfback, Ricketson is the lock forward, Fitzgibbon and Fletcher. The second row was Cusack, Rubin, Benetti. A good front row, and the interchange of Dallas Hood, Solomona, Rigon and Craig Wynn, coached by Graham Murray, complete the Brisbane Broncos.
Have Darren Lockyer at fullback, Takiri and Sailor the wingers, Carol DeVere the centre pairing, Icon the 5'8", Kevin Walters captain and halfback. Campion locks the scrum, Thorne Tallis the second rowers, Carlo Prittis and Webke make up the front row. The interchange bench, Howard, Hancock, Berrigan and Harrison, with Wayne Bennett in charge.
Andrew, they're forecasting low 20s as a top for today.
Yeah, Ray, the weather's gone a little less than perfect. As a matter of fact, there's cloud off to the south, there's cloud off to the north, so we might be in for a little bit of rain. The last word I can tell you out of the Roosters room, the last thing Graham Murray said was one-on-one defence. He thinks that's crucial. A man who knows a fair bit about grand final football. Ricky Stewart, what's your last thoughts?
Well, both teams now would be very nervous, but also excited. They've been waiting for this all week, and it's now finally arrived. I think the size and the strength of the Broncos is going to outweigh the Roosters' speed.
It's all yours, Rams.
Ricky Stewart on the sideline with Andrew Voss. Stand by now for the Australian national anthem, and today to be performed by David Campbell.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our lands abound in nature's gifts, our beauty rich and rare.
Of the anthem provided by David Campbell at the grand final of the year 2000. Presented, of course, by the Nine Network down here in Australia, as we are joined now by our viewers through Sky Sports in the United Kingdom. The final series brought to you by Smoke-Free New South Wales Health. As the staging is just removed from the ground, it will be Brisbane from right to left. The presentation of trophies will be a la Wembley at the end of this grand final. Over the back of the pictures you can see the red and black. That is where the players will walk to. Bill Harrigan officiates at his 7th grand final today. He equals the efforts of Darcy Lawler back in the late 50s, early 60s. The grand final is underway. Will it be Brisbane? Will it be Sydney Roosters? Cusack brings it back on the first of the day. Webke significantly involved in that first tackle. Craig Fitzgibbon, a chance to erase the memories of last year. Ian Rubin, third play down for the Roosters, and they are 25 out from their own line. The tackle on Rubin has hurt. Fitzgibbon with his second hit up. Brisbane hitting and hitting hard early. Fittler now clearing as Rubin seeks attention in back play. Lockyer with the kick return, running over towards one of these big fast wingers. Sailor it is. Rubin's okay. Thorne. The Olympic Stadium today housing something around 85, 90,000. And the roar from the crowd is immense, to say the least. Webke played the ball. Thorne takes it ahead. Fifth tackle gone. Brisbane 32 metres away. Aiken. Matt Singh, one of the very experienced players in the Roosters lineup.
So far, so good for Luke Ricketson. A couple of big hits he made on Brad Thorne. Thorne hit 2 up out of that 6, and Ricketson was there both times testing his hamstring.
Phillips playing with a rib injury, but many players are out there carrying injuries. They weren't going to miss today. Ryan Cross, prolific point scorer, prolific try scorer. The penalty has gone to Sydney Roosters.
And the first of our grand final goes against Lottie Takiri, holding Ryan Cross down in the tackle, although he had a little bit of help also from Michael De Vere. Good work from the Roosters, bit of variety coming out from their own end. Taking one into the middle and gone back to the short side on a couple of occasions. Before that penalty, they went wide, and Ryan Cross almost got it outside his man.
In their last 7 games, the Roosters have scored the first try in 6 of those 7. Will they repeat it today? They work it across, a little bit of misunderstanding, and Phillips is tackled out there by Carroll. 35 metres out from the Broncos line, a little dummy by Hegarty. Hegarty and Cross have both scored 17 tries this year as Ruben goes ahead.
And every time Hegarty's dummy half rate, he will go. They need to watch that, Brisbane.
Lamb now. Cross for Ricketson to test that hamstring out. And he's 15 away from the line as he goes to Adrian Lamb. And Cusack hits it hard. Bonetti, 100 first grade games today for him. Lamb, jinx. Now Hegarty! He's over the line, but... Well, what defence by the Broncos.
Oh, was it? What? It looked like a try for all your money. Hegarty, good left foot step, got inside Ben Ike. He's just got to get the ball down. Lockyer came, and Hegarty, he's just hanging on to the footy, isn't he? And then the rest of the Broncos came, and he's lost it. So a chance there, he had to get down lower maybe.
A couple of years ago, there was only one weakness in Darren Lockyer's game, and that was his goal line defence. Not so anymore. Last week, we saw him come up with a beauty on the line against Parramatta. That was a cracker.
So now Carlaw it is who unloads to keep it alive, and Aiken had Carroll and Saylor with him on the outside. Plays it now just beyond the 40-metre line. Walters, an inside ball for Brad Thorne. He puts it out the back. They've lost the ball. This will be a loose head and feed for the Sydney Roosters around about halfway.
A knock on by the Brisbane side coming out of their own half. Inside ball to Thorne, who tried to unload one to Kevin Walters out the back. And Kevy was ready for it, but he just took his eyes off the footy.
Michael Hancock, one of those bench players. And he finishes up with the Broncos today as Ryan Cross. He puts Minicello down the right side, but De Vere was able to drop off Ryan Cross and still round up Minicello. Luke Phillips up into the back line. Luke Ricketson to the 20-metre line. Now from Simon Bonetti. It's with Brian Fletcher. Fletcher running at Campion, loses the ball forward. It'll be the advantage. And Ben Aiken will play the ball 15 away from his own line.
He's a wonderful ball player, Fletcher, but on that occasion just tried to do a little bit too much. As Saylor shrugs off Cusack, he did well to hang on. Lockyer got some space on the outside.
Well, Minicello leaving the inside man for Ryan Cross. And the Broncos take it back towards halfway with Michael De Vere. One of 2 New South Wales players in the Brisbane Broncos team. As Aiken did well. There's space on the right for Saylor. Thorne's with the ball. Thorne, beautiful tackle by Phillips. It's the only way to stop him. Traditional stuff, down low. Walters for Aiken. Aiken through a gap. Aiken flick pass. Picked up by Lockyer. It went forward. No try.
Well, they're carving them up, aren't they? A big run from Brad Thorne, and then Benny Aiken went straight through a dummy, went through a gap, flicked one back on the inside to Lockyer. He's not happy about the decision, Darren Lockyer. This is a ball to Brad Thorne. He looked up and found himself in some open space with fellow prop Peter Cusack chasing. They hung off him, and this is a great tackle by Luke Phillips. We've come to expect this from Phillips all year. He's had a wonderful season. Look at this for a copybook tackle, around the hips and dropped down beautifully. Then Aiken on this side, beat Adrian Lamb. Back on the inside. That's been ruled forward by Bill Harrigan.
Some nice work on 2 occasions there from Ben Ikin. He threw the pass to put Brad Thorne away on the far side as Craig Fitzgibbon straightens up centre field, 25 out from his own line.
Benetti, Lamb. Outside ball for Hegarty. I got no problems with that ball travelling forward from Ikin to Lockyer. 14 is Dallas Hood. Sydney Roosters for the greater part of the year without Quentin Pongia, more recently without Scott Logan, so they've been operating with a very skinny engine room, but the youngsters filling the role have done well. Saylor taken by Ricketson. Remember the last time they clashed and Ricketson pulled off one of the tackles of the year on Saylor at the Sydney Football Stadium. That's when the Roosters last played Brisbane and beat them 28 points to 0. Now we find Brisbane with Harvey Howard giving a pass away for Webke onto his bad side. He did well to hold it. Walters inside for Tallis, and Tallis beats Dallas Hood. He beat him a couple of times. Reuben and Benetti, they pull him down on halfway. Then for Lockyer, left foot, and finding the line perfectly right on the 10-metre line. Now they'll work to bring a mistake from the Sydney Roosters down their end of the park.
It's been a very good start from both sides. Both teams have had opportunities. We saw Lockyer deny Hegarty on the far side. Ikin will have thrown a forward pass to Lockyer. But I think both coaches will be reasonably happy with the way that the teams have started. Not too many sign of nerves out there. They just want to get those forced passes out of their game plan. And there's 9 minutes on the clock.
Lamb sending it away to Luke Phillips, standing up in the back line. Fittler then finds himself at acting half and decides to try and crack them. 30 metres, good gain by Brad Fittler. Benetti for Lamb and Lamb for Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon to the 40-metre line. So they've come out of their own danger zone very well. Fletcher got a pass, an ordinary pass, way out in front of him. And the Broncos make a meal of Fletcher. Very big welcome to our Queensland audience today. Thousands upon thousands of people watching and cheering for the Broncos up there today. As Lockyer on the kick return again for Wendell Saylor, beating Dallas Hood. Comes to Ian Rubin. And Shannon Hegarty, they combine to put him away. To the outside. Takiri steps away from the tackle of Minicello. Luke Phillips comes across. Well, that's the second beauty that he's pulled off. Luke Phillips. Now Kevin Walters gives it away for Kevin Campion. Penalty goes to Brisbane. Harrigan was playing the advantage. And Brisbane with Michael De Vere will undoubtedly take the 2 points from right in front.
Yeah, with Alan Langer there, they might have gone for the try, but this team has settled down. They'll be prepared to take 2 points. Great ball from Ben Ikin again to put Takiri on the outside of Minicello. I thought Minicello had him fairly well covered. Went in, you see his head just in the wrong position. He's in front of the legs, not in behind the legs. And Takiri, those dangling legs, was able to push through the tackle, but Phillips, great work. Put his body on the line again.
Yeah, Luke Phillips, he must be wondering what's happening out there. There's Ricketson, well, that hamstring, getting a rub. Hope it's not too serious. You might get Vossi to check that out. But Luke Phillips, first of all, he's got Brad Thorne coming at him. He's 8'9". In the next instance, it's Lottie Takiri, and he's handling them both beautifully. And Ben Ikin having a day out, that's for sure. Some good running, some great passing from him.
I mentioned that this young lad, Michael De Vere, was one of 2 New South Wales players from the Broncos team. He learned his football out of Campbelltown. And there they are. First points of the grand final go to the defending minor premiers. 2-0 Brisbane.
In the past, Brisbane have never relied too much on goal kicking. They've always scored amount of tries, but De Vere's goal kicking in the second half of the season has been quite remarkable. Tremendous success rate. And he's another plus for them this afternoon as Luke Phillips restarts. His side trailing by 2.
Let's go to the sideline. Andrew Voss.
Well, the Roosters have showed their hand with Luke Ricketson. He's okay, gave the thumbs up when he came off, but he can't be 100% right. Luke Ricketson is not the player who gets replaced after 10 minutes in any game.
Penalty goal is all we've got to show for the first 13 minutes or so. Prittis. Right on the halfway mark. Play on the eastern side of the ground. This is Harvey Howard. The Roosters are defending the northern end. That is what I call the river end of the stadium. And there's a charge down that comes off okay for the red, white and blue. Brad Fittler playing it for Simon Bonetti. Cusack driven back by one of the small men.
Great tackle from Kevin Walters here. This is the charge down. Well, the arm down from Craig Fitzgibbon. Just on the subject of Luke Ricketson, Ray Phil Gould just offered the point that the problem with the hamstring would come with fatigue, and they'll obviously try and avoid that by keeping him fresh, putting him on for short bursts. And that way he'll get through the game without too much discomfort as Rigon straightens the attack.
20 metres in from touch on the western side. They cross the 40 and Cross puts in a little kick to Carey, drops back, but it finds the line. Just beyond the 10 metres, Brisbane's end. Deft little kick by Cross. Not much hang time. But still, they've got Brisbane down the end of the park where they'd like to have them for the larger percentage of the game.
Just on that short kick, they might want to try one of those earlier in the tackle count. I've noticed that Darren Lockyer standing a good 40 or 50 metres behind his defensive line. And if Fittler spots that, or Adrian Land, they might try one.
It's Tallis now. "20 metres out from their own line. Carlo, one of the youngest players in the game today. In fact, the second youngest, only Minicello younger by a couple of months. And Sailor makes another damaging run. Walters. Lockyer. De Vere tries to get between the centre and the winger. 35 metres out from the Roosters line. Aiken. Very big bomb. Minicello letting it bounce, and it bounces into touch.
Well, it wasn't the best directed kick, and in the end, because of its height, no one knew where it went. I think he meant to actually put it near the goalpost, but it found the left-hand corner and forced them to turn around and go backwards, and neither of Phillips or Minicello got near it. So some danger signs there for the Roosters, a lack of communication.
Minicello, first receiver off the scrum. Solomona it is, getting his first smell of the game. Oh, sing! Well, I'll tell you one thing he's not doing, he's not singing.
He lost the ball. Big tackle from Brad Thorne has hammered Matt Singh, and he's lost the footy. Head on, he got down low, he drove. Carroll was there as well, and Webke. And the ball comes loose because of the impact on the ground for Matt Singh.
And the hand from Brad Thorne.
Aiken for Lockyer. Lockyer inside for Takiri. First try of the grand final. Lonnie Takiri gets the first 4 points.
And because of that lost ball, or as Sterlo said, maybe there was a hand there from Brad Thorne. He comes down hard. Hard to tell from that angle. From the scrum base. A beautiful, just a simple play from Brisbane. Benny Aiken once again running to the line. Just a good ball. And Darren Lockyer got on the outside of Ryan Cross. They let him run. They came up and stopped. The inside ball there, the cover couldn't get to Takiri.
Yeah, just have a look at the work from Anthony Minicello here. I think that was the problem for the Roosters. Broncos would have realised that they're coming up against a slide defence this afternoon, one that normally works pretty well. But the number 5, Minicello, goes way up and gets caught out, has to turn around. By that time, Lockyer was able to get through the gap to Keary back on the inside. Too much ground to make up for the Roosters coming back inside. Well executed from the Broncos. And I think the Roosters will need to learn from that and from the first 10 minutes, because they have been opened up out wide on a number of occasions now.
Well, he's a beautiful runner, isn't he, Darren Lockyer? And he forced Ryan Cross to stop just for that split second, and then Lockyer was gone on the outside of him, and away he went. And Ben Eichen, he's thrown some magnificent passes today. He's having a fantastic game in the opening 20 minutes.
So De Vere looking for his second goal of the day. 20 metres in, 15 metres out. And De Vere is online. So too at the moment are the Broncos. They lead 8 points to 0. Sideline.
And Ray, I can tell you, within the Broncos camp all year, there's been a battle between Wendell Sailor and Lottie Takiri. It's all good-natured fun that one or the other will finish top of the try-scoring ranks this year. Coming into today, that each scored 17 tries. And I've got to say, Wendell, he probably won't mind if Lottie gets 2 or 3 and they win the grand final.
Phillips starting for the Roosters. Vigorous run and a very good tackle. Tackler was Fitzgibbon, runner was Carlaw. Sailor. Webke now. Brad Thorne bound for rugby union at the end of this game. This is young Harrison. I noticed that he and Berrigan at acting half is on. The 11, Brian Fletcher, about to come back into the game. That kick going down for Shannon Hegarty. Again, a driving tackle. Campion and Eichen. Matt Singh trying to correct his mistake from earlier on. It brought the heaviest penalty possible. Rig on. Now they're 7 metres on their own side of halfway. The Sydney Roosters. Ruben back in the game. Good run by Ruben. Started rather tentatively. That will do him the world of good. Fittler and Ricketson. Ricketson puts it on the ground for Adrian Lamb. It should be play on.
Off the hip.
Fittler to the air, across. Ryan Cross is under it with Takiri. Takiri beats them. Takiri won the contest. De Vere.
Coming on in leaps and bounds, Lottie Takiri, isn't he? I remember a year or two ago when you spoke to the Brisbane players and asked who they thought was their best.
Sailor's in space, Peter. Sailor's away. Sailor chased by Luke Phillips. Oh, another try saver by the Roosters, number 1. That's 3 for the day. Lockyer. What a game for Luke Phillips, even though the scoreboard says there is no joy. Campion. 18 away from the Roosters line. Berrigan. Walters. Walters then. He kicks over for Lottie Takiri on the left side. And Minicello. Minicello is grasped in the field of play.
Oh, and lucky to hang on to the football. Well, look at the Broncos. Wendell Sailor, 50-metre dash. The Roosters' defence, it's ordinary at this stage. They're missing far too many tackles. That's about a dozen so far in the opening 20 minutes.
Fletcher. There's the missed tackle count. 11-5. Now Dallas Hood. Peter, I interrupted you when Saylor made a break. My apologies.
So you should have done, and you give one rap to Lottie Takiri, and Wendell Saylor must hear it because he just haired off down the field. What strike power they provide for the team. We've said so many times throughout the year, it's like playing 8 forwards. They're just big men with genuine pace, easy take for Lockyer.
Craig Wing is into the game as Lockyer returns the kick from Brad Fittler. Kevin Walters trying to get rid of Rigon. Gets it back for Tallis. Tallis starts to wind it up and take it down to the halfway line. Luke Prittis. Kevin Walters. Ben Aiken. Tony Carroll. Saylor wants it back on the inside. 38 metres out. That play ends. Now Harvey Howard keeps the legs close to the ground. He's a real daisy cutter, isn't he, the Englishman? Prittis a flick, Saylor a pass, Howard on, Walters with it, back, Cambier knocks on. Kevin Cambier knocking on.
Yeah, mistake there by the Broncos, and the Roosters needed this one. Already looking a little tired. And once again, we saw another great pass, just a fraction of a minute ago by Ben Aiken, just to the outside shoulder of Tony Carroll. His passing is beautiful today.
So Matt Singh. Well, he ran straight at Kevin Walters. And the Walters tackle just did enough. Cross on his own 40-metre line. Western side. Fletcher. Just short of the halfway mark. Craig Wing. Craig Wing. Adrian Lamb. Oh, Solomona. Solomona hit by Tony Carroll. By Jove, he's doing some damage out wide, Carroll. He's left an imprint on more than one today. The big men fly and Lockyer's come away with it. Carlo. Tony Carroll has really been dishing out some punishment, and Solomona was the most recent casualty.
That was called play on.
Howard. Broncos penalty. This will put them just where they want to be.
It's an obvious statement, but the Roosters have to be the next to score even this far out. You cannot give Brisbane Broncos a start. We saw Parramatta do that last week. Couldn't run them down. As Michael Hancock gets his first touch and a nice offload to Kevin Walters.
Ben Aiken now. Tony Carroll. Craig Wing. In a one-on-one situation, he needed Dallas Hood. Michael Hancock. Brad Thorne. Thorne held about 15 metres out, and a penalty goes to the Brisbane side.
You were standing there and I told you back here.
Offside against Brian Fletcher.
They can smell blood here, Brisbane. They would be very tempted to take the tap. They're going to take the 2 points on offer to make it a 10-point ball game. Should point out, on 16 occasions when they've led at half-time, Brisbane, they've won 15 of those matches. They are great front runners.
I would think in a funny way the Roosters might be happy they are taking this kick, Peter.
Well, they're under pressure, eh? I really think that Brisbane, this was a 50-50 call. I'm sure in their mind they thought that they might have been able to get 6. But in a grand final, you take whatever's on offer. And 10-point lead, if you'd have said to them before the game, if you can lead by 10 points after half an hour, would you be happy? They said that they would say they'd be ecstatic.
De Vere, an unblemished record today. This will make it 3 from 3 from right in front. And Michael De Vere sends the Broncos out to a lead now of 10-0. 1 try and 3 De Vere goals. Andrew Voss sideline.
And Ray, it's worth noting a stat on the Brisbane Broncos matches they have led at half-time this year. It's happened on 16 occasions. They've won 15 of them. Ricky Stewart with me. First 27 minutes gone. What's your impression?
Well, the problem was always going to be, I think too many missed one-on-one tackles from Eastern Suburbs, allowing the Broncos to offload the ball and get that second phase stage. It's they're attacking very well, the Bronx.
We are Craig, pull back, everyone behind me.
Webke now.
That's 3. Let him up quick, Brian, don't touch the
Sneak
head.
out from dummy half by Prittis, and now likewise by Hancock. Michael Hancock has gone right through. Got an offload away to Walters. Walters taken by Phillips. Gets the ball away to Campion. Over the 40-metre line goes Kevin Campion to be tackled on the 30. Aiken. Dallas.
Five last.
Hancock. Aiken again. And again a very high kick. Matt Singer's underneath it. They don't come any safer than him.
Yeah, you won't get a lot of joy kicking to Matt Singh too often, but Michael Hancock, a couple of great touches. He saw that Solomon was slow going back, had his back turned. He took off straight after him. He made a 40-metre bust before finding Kevin Walters. Again, the Roosters forced to come out of their own end.
Singh throws the dummy, makes the break. Singh up to the halfway. Lockyer to beat. Matt Singh and Darren Lockyer, their own personal contest. Great run by Matt Singh. Ryan Cross. Adrian Lamb. Red Thorne has pulled off some big hits. Gordon Tallis coming in over the top. Ruben. Fittler. Fittler puts a grubbing kick in. And it's into touch in goal.
Yeah, poor finish to what should have been a lot better for the Sydney Roosters. Matty Singh. He's taken it up a couple of times and been absolutely smashed. On that occasion, he made a magnificent run between Webke and Tallis on Webke's left side. He took him on, Webke couldn't get him. And then he ran away from Darren Lockyer, who came good with a good solid tackle. Beautiful stuff by Matt Singh.
He nearly got the same result earlier on in the game when he ran at Kevin Walters. Tallis now. Just beyond his own 30-metre line. Howard. Runs like those from Matt Singh might just convince the Roosters that the simple things, they can reap the highest rewards. Aiken's kick down for Luke Phillips. How many tries has he stopped in this game today?
Well, he's kept his team in the contest, hasn't he? And I must say, at the other end of the field, Brad Fittler would be very disappointed with the kick into the in-goal area. He would have realised how important it was to get another set of 6 from a restart. Not often you get consecutive sets against Brisbane, and you must take advantage.
Minicello on the back of Hegarty. Just some encouraging signs starting to appear here for Sydney Roosters. Rig on for Ruben. Ruben angling across hard. 43 metres away from the Broncos line. Fittler. Fittler dummies once. He's right on the 30-metre line. Lamb. A kick, looking to regather. Lockyer got the bounce. Lockyer may have run into Kevin Walters there. Aiken with Sailor. Tackled 35 metres out from his line.
And Gordon Tallis leaving the field. A fairly quiet start for Gordon by his standards. Just find out from Andrew Voss whether Gordon's 100%. It's been a little bit dusty getting up after a couple of tackles as Ben Aiken straightens up behind the ruck area, collared on the halfway line.
Prittis now with Campion's support. 5 gone for the Broncos. They lead 10-0. 8.5 minutes of the first half remaining. Kick from Lockyer. Not causing any palpitations for Luke Phillips. Singh for Hegarty. And Hegarty again taken by Carroll. Took him from the blind side. That tackle hurt Shannon Hegarty. Penalty goes to the Roosters. To the penalties to Brisbane. Dallas Hood. First play. Second play. Lamb. Fittler. Riggin. Carroll's tackle. It misfired. Shane Riggin plays the ball. Adrian Lamb. Inside ball for Ricketson. Craig Wing. Lamb. Dummies to Fletcher. Goes back to Fittler. A little juggle by Fittler. And Brad has put away. 9 metres from those uprights. Lamb. Fletcher. They've got to follow him. They've got to follow him. 2 metres out from the line. Last tackle now. Penalty to Sydney Roosters.
And Luke Ricketson telling Brian Fletcher just to settle it down. They'll take the 2 points here just to get on the scoreboard. 8-point deficit. They wouldn't be happy with it, but it's not too far out of reach.
Paul, I don't know that they would have been too unhappy with the close of this half. The last 10 minutes has been encouraging for them.
Yeah, look, I don't think their forwards have done the job. A lot of dummy half running by the Roosters today, and whilst the likes of Thorne and Carla and Webke are getting the Broncos forward, not so much from the Roosters. Maybe that's the way Graham Murray wants them to play it today. And Brad Fittler saw a switch of play there a minute ago in that set of 6. He was standing flat-footed. He needs to be running on those switches.
So there they are, the first points of the day for the Sydney Roosters. It is 10 points to 2 now, coming up to half-time in 5 minutes.
Ray, just to confirm, Gordon Tallis is fine. I'm sitting alongside former Newcastle captain Paul Harrigan, a man who's been behind in a grand final before. Nice settler for the Roosters just to get on the board now.
Yeah, it's good to get some 2 points. As far as confidence is concerned, I think they're just going to have faith that, look, the momentum will shift their way eventually, and they've got to convert that to points. Hopefully they can do that again. There's 5 minutes to go. A try would be nice, but even in the next half and the second half, the momentum will turn their way. They'll get their chance.
Well, it certainly did that a week ago. With Lockyer with a very deep kickoff, and Dallas Hood responds. Michael Hancock went for a one-on-one steal. That could have been very dangerous there for the Roosters. Brian Fletcher. Craig Wing away from dummy half and then losing his footing. Ricketson, Lamb, Solomona can offload. Not this time. Again, Carroll making the tackle down that left side. See, quick work. Lamb back for Ricketson. Ricketson tidied up by Hancock. Solomona finding Fittler. Fittler apparently with a lot of time. Then puts it up high. Minicello! He's heading for a gap. Minicello for Solomona. It went backwards. Brisbane have got it. The advantage applies. 15 out from their own line. Sailor.
Yeah, great chance here from that high ball from Brad Fittler. Takiri couldn't get there in time. Wonderful take from Minicello. Found support in Solomona, and then a lack of support. No one else here, and a big tackle once again, I think, from Tony Carroll.
Berrigan. Prittis. 12 metres short of halfway. That is 4th tackle. Hancock retires from Australian football today to finish his career at Salford. Berrigan. Walters. Looking for a chase, and he's getting that chase from Carroll. Luke Phillips just diving on it. Just diving on it in time. Well, that was so close. It was very uncomfortable. This is the incident we're talking about. Matt Singh looks pretty calm. Wing. Running the play straight at Brad Thorne. Last tackle for Fittler to send it down. Lockyer underneath it. Several times Fittler has found Lockyer without making the Broncos fullback do very much at all.
Nice tackle there from Dallas Hood, because Lockyer had beaten some ordinary defence. Craig Wing's having a fine match. It's only a matter of time for mine before he makes a bust. He's probing and weaving some magic out there around the rucks.
An 8-point margin in favour of the Broncos. Just the one try in the first half. Icon's kick will find the line. No, yes.
Well, Bill Harrigan claiming that Wendell Sailor got his foot to the ball before it went over the sideline. He's actually kicked it out on the full. The kicking game putting a little bit of pressure down in that far corner. Harrigan got that one exactly right. We come into the final 2 minutes of this first half. And I agree, I think we've seen some good stuff from the Roosters in the last 10 minutes to give them plenty of hope in this second 40.
Mentioned the crowd a couple of times to you. There'd be a lot of Broncos supporters here today, but I've got to say, well done to the Sydney Roosters. For a club that apparently can't draw a crowd, you've done a damn fine job today. Benetti cleaning up. Benetti has played in all of the games this year that Sydney Roosters have been involved in. As Wing gets a pass away for Matt Singh. Halfway line. And about a minute of the first half to go. Adrian Lamb across for Brad Fittler. Fittler, long ball, finding Minicello. And they put a ring of defence around him, and Minicello is put away. Peter Cusack, number 10. Down the short side. And it's gone out on the full.
That was a good idea. Short side raid on the stroke of half time, and when he looks back on that, he might have preferred to run the football. Brad Fittler, they had the defence going backwards. There's Lottie Takiri. Takes the ball forward 25 out from his own line. And just this last set of 6 will take us to the break as Wendell Sailor also gets involved. The wingers working overtime.
Ooh, that tackle on Thorne from Ricketson looked a tad high. Prittis firing it wide. Icon grasped. And it was Brad Fittler, the tackler. Siren in the background. It's the end of the first half. The Brisbane Broncos with 1 try and 3 goals lead the Roosters a penalty goal. The NRL Grand Final, and 10 points to 2 at the break. Just waiting for the players to come back onto the park. This team would have been, I imagine, gratified by some of the things that happened in the latter part of the first half. Phil Gould is of that opinion, former Roosters coach, and I think Peter Sterling and Paul Vaughton are starting to also believe that just a couple of things happened late in the half that indicated that this great side, the minor premiers Brisbane Broncos, they're not over the line yet. Wayne Bennett over there in consultation with Shane Webke. Maybe just asking a couple of questions about the state of the arm there. Any problems? Roosters heading back out onto the park. Four of the Sydney side have played internationals. 8 of the Brisbane side on the other side of the equation. So Well, we're just over 40 minutes out now from knowing which team will be doing the lap of honour at the Olympic Stadium on a year that has been in itself rather historic. Certainly the earliest grand final we've ever played in my memory, and of course done to make way for the preparation of this stadium for the opening of the Olympic Games in just a short while from now. The smoke-free New South Wales final series has a little bit more than 40 minutes to go. Let's have a look at the statistics out of that first half. I think it'll show the time in possession was pretty much equally divided.
Most things are even, Ray. I guess the most telling statistic there is the line breaks. 5-1. Broncos have opened them up on plenty of occasions, but the defence has been there for the Sydney Roosters to keep them in the game. Handling errors very good in a grand final, just 7 in total. Quite a few missed tackles, but as I say, the cover defence and the scrambling defence has been pretty good from both teams.
Harrigan reaching a milestone by equaling Lawler's record in this match. 7 grand finals. As the young Dane Carlaw, junior kangaroo, comes back just beyond the 20-metre line. He, of course, will be one of the new faces, one of the new brigade that'll carry the emblem of the Broncos on into the next 5 or 6 years. Brad Thorne put down just inside his own 40-metre line. Does Brisbane bring it out of their own zone again to open the second half? Ben Ikin. Well, gee, that was a late tackle on Ikin. It must be late, surely. He's down injured, and Benetti is the offender.
Absolutely, it was late, and I think Bill Harrigan will question where the contact was made. He kicked it, and in came Benetti from the right-hand side of the screen. Penalty has gone to the Broncos, and Ben Ikin, some concern for him. He's still on the deck.
That right elbow. I don't think it was the elbow so much as the point of the shoulder.
No, there's no drama with the contact. It's the lateness of the tackle. That will certainly earn a penalty. But it's a shoulder charge.
It's very hard to make any excuse for Benetti. I mean, it was very, very late. And I'm looking at the trainer now, and he's waving across to the bench and to the other trainers. And we're going to lose Ben Ikin certainly for a while. Whatever it was, shoulder or elbow, and I'm sure it was shoulder, has disabled Ben Ikin yet again. How many facial injuries has the youngster suffered? He's had absolutely no luck at all, Ben Ikin.
Well, I remember in a State of Origin match in 1997, in the third match of that series, he copped a high shot and was knocked down, ended up in hospital. Solanair recovering from it, and a shot at goal for the Broncos. A converted try might have been the knockout punch, but at 12-2, I still don't think the Roosters will be that concerned. They finished strongly. This isn't the best start for the second half, but they've got plenty of points left in them.
Just one statistic before we have a look at this Michael Devere kick. The interchanges used in that first half, just to show how different the game will be next year. Both sides next year allowed 12 interchanges. In the first half this afternoon, Brisbane used 21. The Roosters used 18. They'll have 12 in total for 80 minutes next year.
Devere, 3 from 3. That's got elevation, but it's away. Ill-directed. Michael Devere, 3 from 4 as the attention centres on Ben Ikin. Club doctor and trainers looking at the injury, working on him. I was interested to notice that our backpack cameras were trying to get a shot of Ben just a few seconds ago before the shot you saw, and the trainers were doing their best to keep our cameras from bringing a picture to you. of the severity of the injury. Andrew's down on the sideline. Yes, Andrew?
Well, the report on Ben Ikin at this stage is just a problem with the jaw, but we'll know a little bit more in a short while. Just from the coaches at halftime, Wayne Bennett, very briefly. Look, there wasn't an elaborate team address. It was a few one-on-ones with a few of the players. Basically, Wayne Bennett just told his players we expected nothing less than an 80-minute battle. That's what we've got. And from Graham Murray, the key point from him, he felt that the Broncos hadn't done anything out of the ordinary in the first half, nothing that they weren't counting on, but he was concerned that, say, on tackle number 4, when they spread the ball, the Roosters weren't numbering up good enough. So that part of their defensive game will have to improve in this second half.
Tallis playing it just outside the 30-metre line as Walters runs at Bonetti. Cusack involved. Priddis starts something down the blind side for Campion and Lockyer and Tallis puts a kick in, but Luke Phillips is there, the guardian. More than a guardian, he's been an angel. Scoreboard, I'm sure, would have been 10 points greater at half-time in favour of the Broncos if it wasn't for some copybook defence by Luke Phillips. Fittler finding Fitzgibbon for Hegarty tackled 12 metres out from his own line. Singh, off he goes again from deep inside his own territory. Twice he's made long runs from dummy half. Brian Fletcher standing in the tackle of Kevin Walters. And Ryan Cross is put away by Takiri and by Webke. He had to lean back to take the pass, and it left him as a sitting duck for Takiri. Now, Fittler's kick is not going to worry Lockyer. In fact, he takes it on the fly. Saylor comes to Cusack. Bonetti is there with Reuben. The three of them put him down. Priddis. Very good. Oh, Fitzgibbon has come out of that tackle second best. Saylor. 38 metres away from the Roosters line. They're guarding the southern end. Walters goes across and finds De Vere. Southern end is the Parramatta Road end of this stadium. And Carlaw knocks on for the Broncos. It's bad luck for the youngster. He's been playing very well. There's an update on Ben Ikin, apparently, Andrew.
Well, the doctor's given him the all clear to return as far as a facial fracture is concerned, so there's no fracture there, but we just saw Ben Ikin jog up and down this sideline. He's well short of 100%.
One thing's for sure, he deserves to return. As Brad Fittler is knocked over in defence, it was very good defence again from that man Carroll. He's been one of the standouts of this grand final. He's been one of the standouts of the year, eh? He's most noted as a ball runner, but he is a better defender. Reads it very well for the Broncos on the fringe of the ruck, and we've seen some bone crunches this Arvo. There's troubles for Brad Fittler in back play. That tackle really sickened him. Cusack. Bonetti allowed to run. And they're good metres for the Sydney Roosters as Luke Phillips goes to the short side. Puts in a kick, but it's gone straight to Lottie Takiri. And Takiri's away from a couple before being taken down by Ricketson. The grand final between the minor premiers Brisbane and the second place Sydney Roosters. Priddis. (10-2) the score. Webke driven back. Fitzgibbon and Dallas Hood. Campion played in the 1996 grand final win at St George. Berrigan. Lockyer. Drawing and passing. Tallis on a mission. Down to the 40. De Vere is there in support. Taken down by Hegarty, and that is the turnover. So the Broncos made the ball do the work.
Yeah, great tackle in the end by Hegarty, who came from this side of the field in cover defence. They needed him to be there. Gordon Tallis starting to run right out there. He's made a couple of busts in this second half. This tackle there from Adrian Lamb. And then Hegarty had come over in cover, so well done by him. Again, it was the vision of Darren Lockyer, wasn't it? Realised that there was a chance on with
Scarcity of defence is Brad Fittler, first receiver. A little bit flat-footed, the Roosters again, as Fletcher tries to promote something out wide. Gets the ball to Ryan Cross. And they are going across field, but keeping it alive.
Now Adrian Lamb. Had the hands free, looking for runners. Bonetti. Solomona, did he put a hand on it? It's with Hegarty. Hegarty for Bonetti. Knocked down by Brisbane. Picked up by Solomona. He starts the tackle count again. Solomona heading for the sideline. Matt Singh takes the ball off him. Singh had to take it off Solomona. Oh, Hegarty's head. Sat back in the tackle of Campion. Now Hood. Away for Fittler. Brad Fittler's 12 metres out from the line. Play on the eastern side. Now Minicello. And it travelled forward from his hands. It will be a scrum and a feed. Loose head to Brisbane Broncos.
Well, this was a chance here for the Roosters. Simon Bonetti in an unusual position for him. Receiving the ball from Hegarty, 2-on-1. Wendell Saylor came up and just got his hand in between the passer and intended receiver. And a mistake at the end of the next set of sixes. Brad Thorne from the scrum wing.
Carroll, led by Dallas Hood and Peter Cusack. Wendell Saylor. Ben Aiken is back on the park. Look at this. Look at this from Saylor. Prentice. Oh, Harvey Howard took the shoulder from Brian Fletcher. Lockyer. Phillips moving quickly. No, he doesn't have to worry about it.
Stay on the line, don't get a jump start.
Minicello.
Yeah, that's one.
Upended by Hancock and Campion. Ryan Cross. Just simple stuff out of your own end. Matt Singh might do the same. No, it's a pass for Solomona. Craig Wing is back again. Adrian Lamb for Brad Fittler. Brad Fittler. He gets away from Walters, not after, or I should say Walters' tackle just interrupted him enough. Back for Lamb again. Ricketson bouncing off the Tallis shoulder charge. Minicello grasped by De Vere.
Problem for Brad Fittler after that last tackle, limping out of it as Luke Phillips feigns the long kick, comes up with the short one and well cleaned up in cover by Kevin Walters. But Brad Fittler behind the field of play, limping across.
Saylor out from dummy half. Let's go to the sideline. Paul Harrigan.
Yeah, just a bit of a comment on the offloading there from the Sydney Roosters. I think that like Fletcher's obviously been the best, and obviously Solomona too, but they're not doing it. Usually make 2 or 3 per half, and statistics in half time were 5-1 line breaks to the Brisbane Broncos, and that's why these guys need to get through the line and offload to their runners.
Fittler has got himself out as wide as he can afford to be in defence. He's trying to get some feeling back in the ankle. I would imagine it's the ankle. Now Walters kicking for Lockyer, who's flying, and it's down with Luke Phillips. Well, he's done it again, Phillips.
He's a miracle man. Absolutely a miracle man today. 3 try-saving tackles in there. He got that ball from nowhere. They go wide. It's out to Hegarty.
Matt Singh goes back. Brad Fittler's involved. Now it's Shane Rigon. And Rigon is away from 2 tackles. Pulled down by Ben Aiken. Right on the halfway line. Ricketson aims straight at Harvey Howard. Wing in 17. Short side play for Lamb. Lamb away for Singh. Singh taken down by Saylor.
This is the worst possible time that Brad Fittler could be less than 100%. They are a chance here at the Roosters. Got some good momentum and a couple of cracks just starting to appear in the Brisbane defence. Last tackle now against tricolours, and Fittler gets the ball away to wing. Someone's got the kick.
Wing does that, he puts it high. It's not a bad kick, but Lockyer is there on his own, and here's the kicker. So they're all onside now. Darren Lockyer playing it quickly. Walters away for Takiri. He senses that Sydney City haven't got their defensive line set down that right side. Webke on the charge. Met by Fletcher and Hood and put away on the halfway line.
Yeah, that was a really important set of 6 in defence from the Sydney Roosters. They needed to keep the opponents at the other end, force them out by doing the tough meters, but they've done it pretty easily as Kevin Walters takes it inside the 40 on 4 tackles.
Gaps starting to appear. Icon to the line and then picked up by Carroll. The ball bouncing beautifully for Carroll. He'll play it just inside the 20-metre line. Campion finding Icon. Icon's kick goes across the ground, but it goes then down over the dead ball line. Really was a poor option for Brisbane given the final execution. Icon has really been giving it some oomph today. But all of that is not much good to you if it goes over the dead ball line. Here they are now against the run of play. Walters is tackled. 15 out from the line. From Harrison they find Harvey Howard. And Howard is 5 metres out. There he is. Prentice with a dummy and then he's taken down. That's the second play. Michael Hancock stands. I thought he was going to get rid of it. Third tackle.
He's got Shane Webke very wide, Ray.
Now it's out for Walters and then Icon. Icon inside for Lockyer. Lockyer gets it back for Walters. Walters away then for... It's Carlaw with the ball. They've restarted the tackle count. How much more can they hold? Play by Carlaw. Campion for Saylor. Saylor will lay the foundation. Saylor, 7 metres out from the line. Prentice for Walters. Icon, Walters. Walters for Lockyer. Lockyer for De Vere. De Vere is a couple of metres away from the corner. Now for Ben Icon again. Third play. Luke Prentice to the uprights. Then for Campion. Campion away for Carroll. Carroll for Saylor. Saylor will make it. Saylor's over. Wendell Saylor is in for Brisbane. Second try of the day for the Broncos. 14 points to 2.
Too much football at this end of the field. Too much pressure. And the mistake, unfortunately, from the Sydney Roosters on the third tackle. Shane Rigon just couldn't control the football. One that he probably should have taken. And then the pressure was maintained. Just have a look out wide in defence. No luck here. I think one of the Roosters players does trip. They execute it well as he frees it there. Just watch this man. I think it's Matt Singh who trips up. Well, in fact, it might be the man next to him. But Saylor this close to the line, one-on-one basically. And yes, it was Matt Singh who slipped over. I don't know whether that made too much of a difference, but Saylor almost unstoppable.
Well, he's been unstoppable all day, whether it's he ran through 5 forwards about 10 minutes ago. And out here, you've got Matt Singh who slips and Brad Fittler playing on one leg. It was easy meat for Wendell Saylor, just straight ahead you go. And 14-2 with 23 to go. It's looking pretty ominous for the Roosters.
Makes it a big kick, doesn't it?
Good lead up here too. Just have a look at this pass from Tony Carroll and Kevin Campion, the only forward not to have been replaced so far in this match. Catch and pass from Carroll. And Wendell. Well, it was made a fair bit easier, wasn't it, with Matt Singh falling over. As Paul pointed out, Fittler less than 100%. And Gordon Tallis, he realises how important that strike was.
And everybody collectively, I mean, will understand how important this kick is for Michael De Vere. 22 metres out from the touchline. 75% today. This will mean they've got to score 3 times. The kick is out to the right. So no conversion for De Vere. 14-2. 2 converted tries is the buffer. Andrew.
That battle between the two wingers, Takiri and Saylor, continues. 1 try apiece this afternoon. Ricky Stewart watching on. Too far out to call that the match winner?
Well, Andrew, I think over the next 5 or 10 minutes on how the reaction from the Roosters is will really determine it. I really think they have to get more football, be constructive with it, and actually play a little bit more football in the bottom part of the field, down around Brisbane try line.
Here comes the destroyer, back to meet them almost to the 20-metre line. Wendell Saylor. The Roosters muscling up on the big fellow that has just scored a try on them. Now Webke. Certainly we're not seeing from Webke the disabilities that he was suffering last weekend.
Well, he's not in the obvious pain that he was last week, but also maybe not the kind of involvement that we've seen in the past as Lockyer gets away. Thought a real change in momentum of the game there. It was a poor set of 6 in defence after the wing kick, then the mistake from Rigon, and then the tries. Gordon Tallis now carries a couple of players 10 metres.
Away from the eastern side. Zyken goes across to the middle for Campion. Campion, an inside ball for Carlaw. Berrigan, a dummy half, and then for Kevin Walters playing in his 7th grand final. 14 years at the top of rugby league. Oh, gee.
I don't think his feet are in the field of play. It's a line dropout, Ray.
Yeah, it's a line dropout, all right. I was looking at how close the Broncos were getting and thinking to myself, Minicello, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? Let's have another look at it. The ball is supposed to be still moving, and he didn't have his foot on the dead ball line. It was moving all right, but he doesn't actually get a foot on the dead ball line. Shallow line drop out. Did he knock on? Yes, they got the result they wanted.
Yeah, they took the punt. And it's paid off for them. Sean Berrigan was awake to it. He got there. Tiniest of knock-ons.
Had a lot of game time too this afternoon. Sean Berrigan, hasn't he, off the bench? He's done well. First mistake.
Thumbs up over the top. Hold, don't come up early.
I was just going to say, Kevin Walters, 14 years at the top, and he's been to the finals 13 of those 14 times. That's an incredible record. He bows out today. And nobody at this stadium will begrudge him a victory. The Broncos captain. Riggin using Solomona. Solomona tries to drive a wedge through them. Gets the pass off. Phillips for Ruben. Ruben standing and wrestling with them. Then he has another go at them. Phillips goes back to Solomona. Dummies to him. Dummies to Craig Wing. Gets it to Brad Fittler. Comes away from Campion. Fires it to Lamb. Lamb puts in a dipsy doodle. Gets it away for Singh. And Singh's pass has knocked down again by Berrigan. So it'll be a scrum.
Yeah, good play from the Roosters, and give Ian Reuben a lot of credit there. He nearly got tackled. He shrugged off a couple of tacklers and offloaded the dipsy doodle by Adrian Lamb, and then a knock on by Berrigan. So things are looking up for the Roosters inside the Brisbane half.
Don't come up, hold.
Well, their supporters, their coach, their captain, now calling for the supreme effort. They go back to a second man, the fullback Luke Phillips. 32 metres out from the Brisbane line. Trailing by 2 converted tries. Fletcher. Craig Wing. Carlaw and Webke. They make the tackle. Holding down as long as they can. Lamb. Here's Fitzgibbon out wide up. Fitzgibbon with 3 of them on top of him. Now Ricketson. Adrian Lamb. It's gone backwards and gone over the touchline. And again, that man Carroll had something to do with it.
Yeah, I thought they made the wrong choice there. I thought they had a good line to the right-hand side. I know Adrian Lamb was first receiver on the left. There was a lot of defence there, as you can see from Brisbane. A lot close to the play the ball area. It was pretty sparse out wide. Unfortunately, time just starting to be an enemy also for the Roosters.
Just looking at those replays, Peter, you're quite right. Their blind side, their defence was so compressed they couldn't fit any more there. And that adds up to something else. It might have been sparser had they gone the other way. Webke. You've got to admire what this man has done. One of the real displays of courage in our game, and we've seen plenty of them. My mind, of course, rushes back to John Sattler in his very own grand final problem. Walters. So it's not looking as though Brad Fittler can do what Artie Beetson did with coach Jack Gibson back in 1975. Last premiership won by the red, white and blue. 1975. Inicello. It's not over yet. But 14-2, it's starting to look a bit grey. Fitzgibbon.
Well, that's one thing the Roosters have got to be, is patient, despite the fact the clock is winding down. There's ample time to score enough points to win this game. What they've got to do is make sure that they don't concede anymore and that they have nothing left in the petrol tank at the end, because there ain't no tomorrow when it comes to grand finals.
Solomona with an offload for Craig Wing, and Wing holds it in. Solomona again, and Lamb is there, but it's away for Fittler without causing a great deal of problems, and then it's recovered by Berrigan. So their kicking game is not causing any troubles to the Broncos. And so Saylor comes in again. It's not so bad having wingers coming in and taking the ball away from your own red zone, but when they're as big as him and Takiri, it really gives you 8 forwards, doesn't it?
It's just not the size, Ray. Like, they are so good on their feet. Wendell Saylor, just unbelievable the way that he can beat players, not just with his strength, but also his evasive skills. He's so dangerous.
We are down to the 15-minute mark. That's okay from Ricketson on Lockyer. Matt Singh flying high, brings it down to be tackled by Saylor, Hegarty, Fittler, Phillips.
Let him up, fellas, quick, back to me.
On the 30. Craig Wing using Brian Fletcher, who hasn't been able to get, I can't remember him getting a pass away. They've really targeted this talented second rower. Singh has caused just about as much trouble as anybody out there today for the Broncos.
That's what they were looking for. A penalty now to give them another set of 6. This is their chance.
Puffed up face of Ben Ikin, and he gave the penalty. 4-4. Typical Bill Harrigan game. Minimum of penalties. Ruben. Ricketson. Now they're 10 metres out from the line. They're right in front. Adrian Lamb comes back open side for Fittler. Then Craig Wing got the ball away. Picked up by Hegarty. And it's been knocked on. It went forward off Craig Fitzgibbon.
Yeah, nothing going right for the Roosters down this end of the park. They've been down there a few times for no result. It was a set play. And Craig Fitzgibbon, despite facing his own goal line, knocked it forward.
Good pressure there from the Brisbane defence. They saw
they've hardly completed the set of 6 down here, the Roosters.
Yeah, they saw the switching play coming and they came up and forced the hand.
Don't go early, back line. Got no hookers down. Both hookers get their heads bent early. Kick it out, kick it out. Don't go early.
Saylor.
I notice that Wayne Bennett has moved down to the sideline for the Brisbane team. No doubt his presence down there will help tired players. Just the fact that he's there with them.
Ikin. Oh, intercepted by Hegarty. Another window opens for the Sydney Roosters. Wing. Ryan Cross. 8 metres out from the line. Everybody is lined out right across the park. Lamb knocked down by Brisbane. And the scrum will pack with the Sydney Roosters having the feed.
You really feel as though we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of the game now. The Broncos leading by 12. Kevin Campion got his hand there. I'll be looking to put Fletcher or Ryan Cross into the best attacking positions. They're the strike players. Cross runs great lines. He has proved dangerous. I think they've got to score pretty much in this set of 6 or the next.
Shots with Craig Wing, picking up Ryan Cross. Lamb, Fletcher running at Harvey Howard and Brad Thorne. Harrigan just checking his defensive line out on the right. Lamb, then away for Luke Phillips, and he's bombarded by Dallas. Dallas Hood, Luke Ricketson. Fourth tackle gone. Fittler decides to go himself, uses his halfback. Lamb gets it away for Benetti. Benetti for Ricketson. Ricketson away for Dallas Hood. And that's the fifth tackle. Benetti. Fletcher, grubbing kick, and Lockyer's there. Harrigan calling timeout.
It is great Brisbane defence. There's the coach, concerned look on his face, because the Roosters are coming home strong. We always thought that. Bit of possession's gone their way. Lockyer pushes it out, and then it's a push in the back, unnecessary there from Hegarty. But it's swarming Brisbane defence. Every time the Roosters look as though they're into some space, is 2, 3 and 4 that the Broncos turn up.
This is going to go 45 metres before Fittler sends Solomona back. Gave him a little tap on the rump as he went back to them. Then Hegarty. 20-metre line, Brisbane's end of the park. Benetti, Lamb. Fitzgibbon offered him a decoy on the inside. 10-metre line. Roosters attacking. Solomona for Fittler. Fittler for Phillips. Phillips bumps away and is tackled 10 metres out of game. Penalty goes to the Roosters. It's against Brad Thorne for holding down. Fittler says let's go for the tap, and Dallas Hood will be held and made to play the ball. Close to the line for Benetti. Now Phillips. Phillips decides to go himself. Berrigan puts him away with Carlaw. Solomona finding Fitzgibbon. He's over the line, Fitzgibbon. Fitzgibbon's over. That's a try. A try for Sydney Roosters.
It's a try and it's a flicker of hope for the Roosters. Again, as we mentioned down the other end of the field with Brisbane, too much ball at this end for the Roosters to be denied. A nice move here. Craig Fitzgibbon, I think he puts it on Ben Ikin. A little bit of an in and away. Opened up the hole for himself. Solomona will double pump. You'll see the second rower does it all himself. Some nice footwork. Slides through. And now a very important conversion coming up from the man who scored the try.
Yes, they breathed some life back into the grand final. 14-6 can become 14-8 with 9 minutes to go. Lovely play there from Craig Fitzgibbon. But the Roosters, Lamb has started to run the football. Fittler is still out there. He's still on one leg. A brave performance from Brad Fittler. Solomona's been good. Some offloads. The Roosters, they realise there that they're back into it.
Fitzgibbon has kicked 10 from 10 through the final series. I guess all that means that he's one closer to a miss. On behalf of all Sydney Roosters supporters, I hope this isn't the one.
Oh, good one.
Fitzgibbon, 2 grand finals and a try in each grand final. 3 metres in, 20 metres out. It looks okay. He's going to do it. Oh, it's hit the crossbar and bounced away. Got him again.
You could stop the Southern Aurora, Rabs. It was going to go over easily until the ball heard you. He struck it nicely. In fact, he struck it beautifully. It must come down pretty much on the black dot. Well, just to the side off. And disappointment. That was...
But from that far out, Peter, the last thing you're worried about is distance. All right. No, I'm not trying to cover myself. I'd call it the same way 100 times. He was only 20 metres out on a bit of an angle. Bit of an angle. Solomon! 14-6. 7 minutes to go.
And this is where last week Brisbane started to look a little bit shaky against Parramatta. The final 10. They were able to score a late try through Brad Thorne just to wrap it up. They did get weary, and the Roosters have got something of a sniff here.
Solomon are out wide. Higgity. Lamb. Back on the inside for Matt Singh. 41 metres out, fourth tackle. Oh dear. Adrian Lamb's pass was directed straight at the touch judge.
Well, Solomon had dropped out of the play. He hurt his ankle in the previous play. And I guess Adrian Lamb just assumed that there was going to be a third member out there, and there probably would have been if Solomon hadn't sustained injury.
I think he might have been Matt Singh, but he actually played the footy.
Just over 6 minutes now.
Come on, get the head in. Get it down. Back it off, Sydney. Let him get his head in. Put it in.
14-6.
Hold.
And it's with Kevin Walters.
Let him go now, Brent. One. That's one. Back off. One side, Brian.
Brad Thorne.
That's two. Roll off him now. Don't lay on him.
Still Sydney City offering numbers in defences to Keary. Runs over the top of Shane Riggin. Luke Prentice away for Kevin Walters. To the right for Ben Aiken. Now for Lockyer. Now Carroll. Carroll is upended by Brad Fittler, 30 metres away from the Roosters try line. It's Carlaw running straight at Dallas Hood. Two of the young lions of the game, face to face. Lockyer, little kick. He's looking for Michael De Vere. Minicello it is that came off that right wing, snuffing out the fire. Wing. Brian Fletcher. Craig Fitzgibbon, Brad Fittler. Fittler away for Matt Singh. Singh taken by Aiken and Saylor and also Prentice. And he's just inside the 40-metre line, his own end of the park. That's where Brisbane want them, where they don't represent a big danger to them. Singh for Hegarty. Fifth tackle now for the Roosters. Trailing by 8 points as Fittler goes high and across towards Minicello. He gets his fingers to it, bats it instant field. Ryan Cross put a kick on it. Cross might have been taken high, but
stolen the ball, Ray.
It's still with Sydney Roosters. Lamb. Fletcher. Now it's with Fittler. Intercepted by Saylor. Saylor's away. Down outside the 30-metre line. A great chase by Craig Wing. Hancock.
Try-saving hand there from Wendell Saylor, because I'm pretty sure if that goes to Matt Singh, it would have been try time in the corner.
Well, look at the numbers they had out here. And Saylor decided to gamble on his ability, knowing that if he missed it, Matt Singh was in the corner. The Broncos come back down the other end of the park. Aiken. And dead in goal. Ricketson. Put away by Campion. 3 minutes left on the clock. And they've still got to score twice. The mission now looking impossible.
Yeah, I can't see the Roosters scoring twice in that period of time, and it's been a wonderful effort from the Broncos all year from day one. They've set the standard as Fittler tries to make a bust, gets a good ball away to Ricketson. And they've had to battle hard through the playoff series, did it tough against the Sharks, kept Parramatta at bay last weekend. And the Roosters have never given up during this 80-minute contest as well.
Lamb. Then Haggerty. Defensive Aiken tested, but he was equal to it. Lamb with a little kick. Lockyer and Lamb, and Lockyer takes it dead. So they will wind the clock down. Bill Harrigan letting it go so far. Now he's called timeout as we look at the replay of just how much discomfort was caused, and it was only minimal. So Lockyer, by kicking, restarts the clock, and Dallas Hood, is it? No, it's Luke Ricketson taking it back down the park to the 40-metre line. For Lamb, now Fitzgibbon, running straight at Berrigan and Campion. Fittler, Fletcher. Fletcher got his arms free, but the ball has gone to ground, so scrum will pack.
And that'll be it. The Brisbane Broncos will win the grand final of 2000. Despondent faces there of the Roosters. They've given it their best. The Broncos, though, just too strong and too powerful. A good, solid grand final performance. A lot of experience in the team. Fletcher's tried really hard for the Roosters. It's been one of their best, along with Solomona and Matt Singh. A great performance for the Broncos. Congratulations goes to them and to their coach, Wayne Bennett.
One of the stars of the game, Wendell Saylor, with what should be his last touch of the ball. And Michael Hancock has been with the Broncos since day one back in 1988. He brings the curtain down on his Broncos career today. Tallis is tackled near the halfway as we come down to 25 seconds of the grand final. Walters kicking for Michael De Vere and Lottie Takiri. And in a beaten side, Luke Phillips, who took that ball, will be remembered as one of the heroes. The Broncos are the premiers of the year 2000. Minor premiers by a clear 6 points. They are now the premiers with a 14-6 victory in front of 94,277. 5 grand finals they have contested, and they've won them all. And for Kevin Walters, he's contested 7 grand finals, and he's come away winning 6 on retirement day. What a beautiful ending for Kevin Walters. He's had more than his share of sadness, but today the Broncos keep their grand final record intact. 5 tries for 5 wins. Despondent Sydney Roosters captain, no doubt, but 14-6, they made it a much closer game than many of the pundits thought it might be. Much, much closer than many people thought. Matty Singh created some havoc for the Broncos on more than one occasion. Shane Webke there in the foreground. 2 weekends of just courage personified. And what about Carroll? Tony Carroll, he leaves the Broncos after today, but he was one of the stars of the game.
Yes, so did Kevin Campion there. You can see Michael Hancock, and I thought that the last year or two may have just been a transitional time for the Broncos. We're so used in the past to seeing State of Origin and Australian representatives on their bench. This year we've got the likes of Berrigan, Ashley Harrison. They've still been able to maintain their excellence.
Let's go down to the playing field. Paul Harrigan with Wendell Saylor.
Yes, I've got Wendell. Wendell, congratulations. Personally, an absolutely fantastic game. For yourself and Lottie, 18 tries each for the year. You must be happy with the match.
Yeah, for sure. We came down here obviously to win the GF, but Lottie Takira's been great for me personally, Chief. He just pushes me all the time. And he told me he was going to have a game today, so I thought I couldn't let the young bull go without me having a go today.
Very good. Now, rewind it back to the first half. Everyone expected the forwards to dominate in the go forward, but you elected to spread it wide. You made a lot of damage there. Was that a part of the game plan?
Yeah, Benny's been working on it for the last week or two. Obviously the last week in particular. But the last time the Roosters beat us, we couldn't really get them through the forward, so we decided to get them on the fringes, and obviously it worked.
What about defence? In that second half in particular, 10 minutes to go, they're trying to raid your line. You must be proud of the boys the way they defended.
Yeah, for sure, Chief. We laid the platform in the first half, and that second half we defended so well, 10 to go, and when they score, the boys are a bit shattered, but Kevin Walters, he's an absolute legend. He just said, I can't repeat the words, but he just said, we've got to have a go, and we're not going to lose it from here because we're the best team all year.
Just tell us about your coach, Wayne Bennett, at half-time. What type of guy is he? He must be an amazing person.
Oh, we just went in there and he said, look, you've laid the platform. The second 40 minutes has got to be the 40 minutes of your life. We don't want to walk off here losers, and it's in your hands, and that was enough for me. So we went out there, and the Roosters played really well to their credit in the second half, but we got home, Chief.
What about a quick message to everyone at home at Brisbane?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone back at Brisbane for supporting us. They've been great all year, and we'll see you tonight.
Yeah, good on you, Wendell. Thanks very much, guys.
Paul Harrigan there with Wendell Saylor. Ricky Stewart, meantime, stands by with Brad Fittler.
Ready. Yeah, Ray, I've got Brad here now. Brad, I know how you're feeling, mate. It must be very disappointing, but it's an old cliche, but there has to be one loser.
Yeah, it's right, and it's no smoothing and whinging about it now. It was a great effort by the boys all year. I thought in today's game it was pretty important we not let Brisbane get to a league, so just keep that power game going, and fell off a couple of tackles and then made a few mistakes, got a bit frustrated.
Mate, you just could never get your nose in front. Where did you see the point where you couldn't get home?
I thought if Fitzy lands that kick from the sideline, I thought we were a chance. It was, I thought they were weakening, they were getting tired, and we had a few chances, but just couldn't get there still.
It's been such a long season, a hard season. You get to the last game, a lot of young guys here, mate. How do you pick their confidence up after this?
I think history shows that sides that originally get to a grand final, it's always hard to win. But in plenty of times they've backed up and won after that. So these boys will pick up. There are a lot of them are young fellas and with big futures. So just have to regroup.
Sure, mate. Again, Brad, thanks very much for talking to us. We feel very disappointed for you, mate. Good luck.
Ricky Stewart. Thanks to him and, of course, to Brad Fittler. Andrew Voss, I think, has caught up with Kevin Walters now.
Oh, just great emotion down here, Ray, and with Kevin Walters, the man of the moment, the man who has just played his last game of rugby league. This is the fairy tale that only comes to just a few.
Well, it is. I don't normally believe in fairy tales, and today it's just been a magnificent day for everyone involved with the club, family. It's just a wonderful occasion.
You mentioned family. How important for Kevin Walters? Your three sons are here to watch your last game of rugby league. What does that mean to you?
Well, it means everything, and obviously they're a big, major part of my life, and I look to them now for a bit of football in the backyard, hopefully.
Well, as far as a post-mortem on this one goes, half-time 10 points to 2. Second half, you can never say you were safe. You had to really play out the 80 minutes, which was what Wayne Bennett expected, what you expected all week.
Yeah, that's right. It was always going to be a tough encounter, and we play a different style of football to what we're normally used to the Broncos, and there's a lot of improvement in their side, I must say. So next year's a different year for them, but let's enjoy the moment.
Well, Kevin, Wendell Saylor's had his words on your coach, Wayne Bennett, the longevity of this man who is again steered you to another premiership. What's your comment?
Well, Wayne's a tremendous person, and I've got no doubt he's been one of the major forces behind my career, and we've done a lot of things together, and this just caps it off for both of us.
Kevin, congratulations on a great career, and just, as we say, the fairy tale ending.
Yeah, thanks, Fossey. Can I just say quick hello to Alfie and the boys over there in England, Alf? Look forward to having a beer with when you come back home. Gigi, Pearl, all the boys. Thanks very much.
Good on you, Kevin. Over to you, Chief.
Yeah, I've got Luke Ricketson with me. Thanks very much for talking to me. I know you're obviously disappointed. You worked your absolute heart out to be here today. Tell us about it, mate. It's obviously one of those tough things in rugby league to lose a grand final.
Yeah, really tough thing to lose. I mean, very confident camp all week, and mate, the boys just tried really, really hard. There was just a really good feeling going into the game, and just, I think a few things could have gone our way, and maybe we were a chance.
All week you had a belief that you could do the things to beat this side. What were they in particular? Was it defensively? Was it a style of play?
I just think it was a blue. We had a lot of young blokes that were just really, really keen all week, jumping out of their skin. I just thought that the role that we had on from last week and the confidence in the camp, and I just thought we could stop their big three, their big blokes, and made our backs to do the job, but not to be this time.
Well, they say you've got to be in a grand final before we can win one. What gift or what have you learned out of today?
Mate, I think we've learned a heap. The weekend itself was is a pretty hectic schedule, and mate, I think just going into the game, you might have been a little bit underdone. So, mate, next year we'll do it a lot better.
Thank you very much for talking to me. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Luke Ricketson, one of 3 players whose fathers had preceded them with grand final experiences. Well, a great experience for those two, the captain and the coach, Wayne Bennett and Kevin Walters. 14 points to 6 then in favour of the Broncos over the Sydney Roosters, as we bid a very good afternoon to our viewers in Melbourne. After our break, though, we'll come back with more from Stadium Australia. That will include the presentation of trophies.
Back at Stadium Australia, where the Broncos are the NRL champions for the year 2000. Terrific win by them, and they're just going through the victory celebrations, acknowledging the big crowd here, embracing one another and enjoying the moment with me, Peter and Paul. They were just a juggernaut today. I mean, they muscled up, and they were really, really hard to get over.
Well, they were. It wasn't one of the classic grand finals, wasn't it? Quite dull in some patches, but, they ground out a win. The forwards did their job, and the halves were terrific. I thought Benny Eichen had his best game in a long time. In a big game, you need your 5/8 to play well. He did that today. And Lockyer and the boys, Wendell Saylor and Lottie Takiri, they are, whatever they're paying them, they should double it. They are just great players. They did their job as well to, along with the forwards. And I thought the Roosters were pretty ordinary. I didn't think they had much in the end.
Yeah, I don't know about whether they were ordinary. I think they played as well as they were allowed to.
Yeah, the Brisbane defence was outstanding, wasn't it? Every time the Roosters did look like making a break, they just turned up in numbers. So maybe I am being a bit harsh on the Roosters. There's the Prime Minister, Johnny Howard.
This is a Wembley-style presentation, which is the first time we've seen it at the NRL Grand Final, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes off.
I think it's great, Ken. I think this is the way to go. Minimum of speeches. I think the players want to get up there, get back down, let the crowd show their appreciation. I've always loved watching this happen at Wembley, and I think it's a good innovation in our game.
Well, they really do stick, this team. I mean, there is a brotherhood with the Broncos. You can say what you want to say about them, but they stick, and they stick right to the very, very end.
They do, and there's a man who had an absolutely outstanding game once again, our Clive Churchill medal winner for the year 2000, Darren Lockyer, the fullback for the Brisbane Broncos. He's had an incredible couple of years. Was a player that came through the junior reps for Brisbane, was, I think, earmarked for future honours a long time ago, and that's Clive Churchill's widow there,
Joyce Churchill
presenting the medal, and he's had a fantastic afternoon, and that's the icing on the cake.
Very, very brave player, very, very speedy around the track, and he really did have a classic game and fully deserving of that the wonderful medal. And of course, Clive Churchill would be very, very happy to have a fellow like Lockyer having that medal around his neck, because the great man.
Yeah, fellow fullback as well, and he did everything right today, Darren Lockyer. His defence was impeccable. He chimed in at the right time. He brought the ball back from kicks very, very well. And he is one of the great players of our game at the moment. There were some doubts over him a couple of years ago with his defence, but that's improved. Of course, we saw him today save a try when he got to Shannon Hegarty, and he's had a fantastic game.
The two fullbacks had outstanding games. Actually, Luke Phillips, I mean, in a losing side, a couple of great runs, wonderful tackles.
Well, Phillips kept his team in the competition up until the half-time break, as we pointed out. He was around the legs of a couple of guys who looked like scoring. I thought Matt Singh had a super game as well.
Thanks. Well, what a dream come true. It is a team effort out there, and I'd like to thank all the guys I played with today, especially those 5 guys that are leaving the side. Good luck to those guys in the future. I'd like to thank the Roosters for a good game today. It was a tight one there in the end, and hopefully there's next year for them. And last but not least, the sponsors of the side, the staff of the side, and all the supporters that travel down from Brisbane and from Sydney. Thanks very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, congratulations, Darren Lockyer, And now it's time to welcome and
Nicely done there, the Churchill medal winner for the grand final. The players ready to accept their medals here at this Wembley-style presentation. And as Sterlo said, this is a magic moment, and this is the first time we've seen this. And I'm really happy that the players have certainly embraced it. Talking to them through the week, they were really looking forward to making the move up the steps here, not necessarily as losers, but as winners, but being part of it.
It's good if you're a winner. Both Peter and I did this as losers at Wembley. With Hull and St Helens, it's not much fun walking past the Prince and the Queen and all those sort of crocodiles with a losing medal, but they've got to take away something. They were pretty good combatants, and yeah, that'll be on the back of the shelf for quite a while, this medal.
Crocodiles. Well,
we had, honestly, when I was there, we had some dukes you'd never heard of. Honestly, they had no idea who they were, but we're introducing everyone to them, you know. Duke of somewhere and Duke of this.
This is a tough moment for the Roosters. They're pretty keen just to get up there and get back down and allow the glory to go to the victors. That's the way that sport is. And they're quite happy to go down. Look, they can be satisfied with their efforts. I think probably, you know, at some stage through the year, plenty of people didn't even think that the Roosters would be here on grand final day. Maybe in the back of the mind, some of their players weren't that confident because at times they were a little bit inconsistent. In fact, I think for the first 10 or 12 weeks, they went win-loss, win-loss. And you don't go to grand finals with that kind of inconsistency, but they turned that around late.
And good, well done, Graham Murray. Great year for Graham. Back in the mainstream of Australian Rugby League coaching. He had plenty of successful years at Leeds. And also Craig Fitzgibbon, no luck for him. 2 starts here, of course, in the last 2 years. Lost last year against Melbourne and again here against the Broncos today.
Terrific effort too, obviously. We've spoken about it, Wayne Bennett, that 13 years of coaching the Broncos, you can still maintain an enthusiasm. Of course, let's hear from Freddie before we make a comment on that.
Our management staff and coach Muzz and everyone that has an interest in footy, everyone that turned up here today to make it such a special day. Thank you.
Fittler did his very, very best, but today he was up against a hot side. But we talk about Wayne Bennett, 13 seasons, maintains enthusiasm, got the cattle, but then again, he's instrumental in getting the right cattle.
Well, he doesn't make them worse players, does he? No. Yeah, 13 years of fantastic. He's the Alex Ferguson of Australian Rugby League, as we see Kevin Walters leading his team up there.
And his children.
I think that one thing that Wayne Bennett does, he surrounds himself with people who have as much character off the field as they do on. Now, we heard a humble speech from Darren Lockyer, a guy like Shane Webkin, who's the greatest straight shooter in the game of rugby league. Now, they understand what their job is, their responsibility, and they carry it out very well. They work for success, they demand success. And now this is a culmination of not just the last 12 months, but what the Broncos have been doing up there for a long, long time.
Tony Carroll had a wonderful game today for a fellow who's basically supposed to be playing on one knee. I mean, he just crunched them in the first half.
Yeah, he did. He came out with 27 tackles in the match and plenty of good attack as well. They didn't have a dud player, did they, the Broncos? And this man here, what a magnificent career. He came to Canberra, I think in about 86 or 87. He followed Wayne Bennett down, and here he is in the year 2000, finishing off his career with the ultimate prize as captain of a grand final winning side. And no one deserves that more than Kevin Walters. As he holds it up, all of Brisbane, they're on their feet, loving it.
And a nice thing to have his kids there. I mean, they're there for Dad's last game. We don't often, we've spoken about the top players don't often get the way to choose the way out of the game, but he has. It's the best possible way.
Yeah, and I think it's probably a little bit more special. We know that the history, the family history of Kevin, losing his wife in the last couple of seasons, and you know, that's got to make it very, very difficult. Just
well, there's a great story there. Harvey Howard. I mean, last year he was battling around with the West Club, ended up in second grade, spent most of the year playing for the Toowoomba Clydesdales, the satellite club of the Brisbane Broncos, and here he is. He's been in the side for the last 6 or 8 weeks, and he's just held up the trophy. So there's plenty of great stories coming out of this team.
He's the sole Englishman playing in the competition at the moment, but of course for the Roosters next year they've signed Adrian Morley, international, and rave reviews about Adrian Morley, so they will be boosted by his inclusion, and that might just help them go that one step further.
Of course, they're being presented with the winning rings, and Gordon Tallis was having a bit of trouble getting around his knuckles.
I like the ring idea, Paul. I'm sort of disappointed that all those years ago that they weren't sort of in vogue there. I think it's a great keepsake for the players, something that, you know, I think you would wear and feel proud to do so, not something that you would put at home in the closet or in the cupboard.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Pete. And a nice grin there from Wayne Bennett. Doesn't give much away, but you'd love to know what he's thinking, wouldn't you? Be nice to catch up with him, have a chat. But he just likes to do things quietly in his own manner.
But he's so smart. I mean, he's not a coach who's just one-dimensional. He can move it around and give them all sorts of options. Here's Kevin Walters.
Thanks very much. First of all, I'd like to thank the Roosters for a particularly good performance today, I think. They went in as underdogs, played an extremely good game. We were lucky to get away in the end. A big thanks to all our sponsors of the Broncos, all our fans back in Brisbane who will be supporting well into the night with us tonight, all our fans that came down to the game today. Thanks very much. The coaching staff, Wayne Bennett, the coaching staff, Nuss, all the boys, thank you very much for your efforts this year. And most of all, I'd like to thank these guys here, tremendous season, and I do think deserved champions. Thanks very much. I won't see you all next year.
And I think he's fairly happy about that. You know when your time is up, and Kevin Walters has said enough is enough. He's going to enjoy smelling the roses. The Roosters there feeling fairly disconsolate right now, but here's a good moment, of course. They've got the trophy. They've just about taken everything before them this year. They've been the benchmark for the competition. They finished in front, and they've done that right on grand final day also.
And good to see plenty of fans still staying around for the victory lap, which is coming up. There was some concerns that we wouldn't get a big crowd here today because of an out-of-Sydney team, and also the Sydney Roosters, I suppose, in the past have struggled to get big crowds. But 94,000 here today, and plenty of those, not just Rooster supporters, but plenty here to support the Broncos, and they've stuck around to watch these guys do the victory lap.
Well, you fellas have been part of this sort of moment. I guess unless you've been there, you can't really explain it completely.
Well, it's what you play the game for, Ken. From the age of 6, it's always great to represent your country, but when you get involved in a club and you're there a long time, this is the ultimate. This is all you want with your teammates and your coach, is to win a premiership. That's what you play the game for. Another great story, of course, in there, Michael Hancock. He played in the very first Broncos game in 1988, and here he is 13 years later in the year 2000, in his 13th season, bowing out with a premiership ring. There he is, just on the right of the screen there, and he's been a wonderful player for the Broncos and for Queensland.
Speaking of premiership rings, I think that Wayne Bennett, the ultimate gesture here, he's given his ring to Shane Walker, who was the player omitted off the bench. And, well, that's
nice touch. That's fantastic. Nice touch in, and I'm sure they'll organise another one for Wayne Bennett. But just for him to do that is just shows what sort of a bloke he is. Very unselfish, and he wants to make that kid happy, Shane Walker, who also had a great season this year with the Broncos. No ring for him today, but he's got a premiership ring, and Kevy there with his 3 lads and the trophy. They'll be talking about that photo for many, many years to come.
It's hard to imagine football without the Walters brothers, but we'll have a few years to wait, and maybe they'll come through the Broncos ranks. They've obviously got it in the genes, because they're an outstanding athletic family, particularly in regards to rugby league. And he's not quite strong enough, but he's giving Dad a bit of a hand.
Plenty of young faces there still, isn't there? Like, you have a look through this Broncos team, they are losing 5 players. And a couple of guys who've been there for the duration since 1988. But, gee, when you have a look through and you see Ashley Harrison, you see Dane Carlord playing in the front row out there today, tremendous effort from him. Darren Lock is only a young man, so too Lottie Takiri, Michael DeVere.
Carl Webb, Darren Mapper coming through. You've got Scott Prince joining the club, Stuart Kelly, who's still got his best footy ahead of them. They'll only get stronger next year.
OK, well, Ricky Stewart's down there with one of the very best. Ricky?
He deserves it. You know, we didn't want to talk about it too much. You know, we just wanted to go out there and do it, and I'm just so pleased that we did it for him.
He certainly does deserve it, mate. Your defensive efforts today was just outstanding. Really, that was the coup to the win today.
Yeah, well, you know, that's what we based our season on, is just our defence, and, you know, we just hung in there for us today. The Roosters come out in the second half, wanted to throw it around, but, you know, we just kept on turning up, and, you know, that's the best thing about this team, mate. We just never give in.
Sure. And what type of influence did Wayne Bennett have on you guys today?
Oh, mate, he's pretty quiet all week. You know, he just knew that, the boys knew that we had to do it with Kevy and Michael and all those sort of blokes. So I think he just focused on the younger guys, just making sure they were up for it, mate. And they were all outstanding.
Thanks a lot, Gordy. Go and enjoy the moment,
Thanks
mate.
a lot, mate.
Cheers.